Hello, my dear students, good morning. Students, let's start reading the next part of this chapter number 7, which we started learning in the last lecture. Okay, so this the part is to be started. This is where the British Raj begins. You are going for the first time, I presume, Khan Sahib asked. Who is Khan Sahib here, bete? The name Khan Sahib stands for here the person who entered the compartments, okay, and checked the permits of the passengers at the Sarhad railway station. Okay, so now a little conversation also took place between the ticket checker and Gangadhar Pant. So while telling something about that the area, Khan Sahib told Gangadhar Pant, Professor Gaitonde Fest, that the area in which the train was in which the train had already entered, so that the area was under the province of the British Raj. So this is where the British Raj begins. He told Gangadhar Pant that the area was under the British Empire, and he also espoused, presume stands for espouse. He also told him that as per his assumption, he was going for the first time. He was going for the first time. Okay, so he also assumed so, espoused so. Yes, the reply was factually correct. Gangadhar Pant had not been to this Bombay before. So when Gangadhar Pant was given such kind of question, so he responded quite positively, saying that he was totally right, and he spoke very truthfully, saying that it was his first visit for Bombay. Since Khan Sahib also had understood the feelings of Gangadhar Pant, that's why he asked him whether he was going to Bombay for the first time. So Gangadhar Pant told him very truthfully, and he responded him quite positively, saying that yes, he was going to Bombay the first time. It was his first visit, since he had not gone to that city before in his life. He ventured a question, but the word venture stands for here embarked, EMBARKD, embarked. It means to do something at great risk. So we may take the meaning of this word here. Asked a question boldly. Asked a question, not boldly, Asked a question, fearfully, not boldly, Asked a question fearfully. He ventured a question, though he did not want to ask that the question, but he mustered up his courage, and anyhow, gathering up his courage, he asked the question, and he asked Khan Sahib, and Khan Sahib, how will you go to Peshawar? He asked that the person, that the ticket collector, ticket checker, Khan Sahib, how he would go to Peshawar, how he would go to Peshawar. Now I have transformed the statement into indirect speech. So he asked Khan Sahib how he would like to go to Peshawar. This train goes to the Victoria's terminus. I will take the Frontier Mail tonight out of Central. In the response, Khan Sahib told Gangadhar Pant that train in which he was travelling, making his journey, went to the Victoria terminus first. After the Victoria terminus, as soon as he got or reached the Victoria terminus, he would catch some other train named the Frontier Mail. That night and out of central. Out of central tonight. Out of central stands for here. He would like to catch the train, the frontier mail, that night out of central. It's the name of the station. How far does it go? By what route? Again, Gangadhar Pant asked, gave him one more question, or asked him how far his journey would, how far does it go? Means how far Peshawar was from Bombay. By what route, and by what route he would like to go there? By what route that the frontier mail would like to go to Peshawar? Bombay to Delhi, then to Lahore, and then Peshawar. Khan Sahib told Gangadhar Pant that first of all he would like to catch the train from Bombay, then he would reach Delhi. As soon as he would reach Delhi, from Delhi he would go to Lahore, and then he would go to Peshawar. A long journey. Khan Sahib told him that it would take more time, it would take a longer time to reach Peshawar. I will reach Peshawar the day after tomorrow. The day after tomorrow stands for here after 2 days. It means day after tomorrow stands for tomorrow, and day after tomorrow means 2 days. So he would reach Peshawar taking around 48 hours. Around 48 hours, less or more. Thereafter, Khan Sahib spoke a lot about his business, having discussed about such kind of matter regarding the journey to Peshawar. Okay, Khan Sahib also started talking with Gangadhar Pant, Professor Gaitonde, about his own business, and Gangadhar Pant was a willing listener. Okay, when Khan Sahib was telling something about his business, so at the same time Gangadhar Pant also listened to his voice, listened to his words very willingly, quite willingly, intently, without ignoring any part of his voice, and he listened to his voice very carefully. For in that way he was able to get some flavor of life in this India that was so different. He was listening to the voice of that person, Khan Sahib, in order to know about the experience, in order to know about the culture, in order to know about the living standard of the people in the country India, in his own country India, that looked so different at that time. Because in those days Britishers were ruling over the country for a long time, and most of the parts of the country had been captured, had been taken into their hands, had been captured by the Britishers. So now in this short passage we have come to know about the conversation, some more part of the conversation that was going on between Khan Sahib and Gangadhar Pant bete. The train now passed through the suburban rail traffic. Suburban stands for beta a residential district or place located on the outskirts of a city, located on the outer part of a city. So the train now passed through the suburban rail traffic. Now the train continued running on the track, crossing the residential area that was situated on the outside of the city Mumbai. The blue carriages carried the letters, the blue bogies. On the blue carriages and bogies of that train Jijamata Express, the letters GBMR were also printed very clearly. They were quite visible on each and every carriage. The 4 letters were inscribed and were already printed there. On the side, on one side of those old carriages, the word GBMR, these the 4 letters were already printed there. Greater Bombay Metropolitan Railway, GBMR stands for Greater Bombay Metropolitan Railway, explained Khan Sahib. Khan Sahib told Gangadhar Pant that the letter GBMR stands for Greater Bombay Metropolitan Railway. See the tiny Union Jack painted on each carriage. He also asked whether he could see. Khan Sahib also asked Gangadhar Pant whether he could see something more apart from those 4 letters written cumulatively in a single one word, GBMR, and he indicated to the words written under the GBMR, and those the words were Union Jack. See the tiny means very little. See the tiny Union Jack painted on each carriage. Okay, now the sign of interrogation is already put here. So now such kind of question is known as inflection question, bete. So the Khan Sahib also asked him whether he could see the tiny, very little words written, painted on each carriage. A gentle reminder. Okay, while telling something about those the 2 words Union Jack, he also told that those the words were worked as the reminder that we are in British territory. The main purpose of printing those the 2 words Union Jack was only to indicate the people that they were now in the geographical area that was under jurisdiction of some sovereign. Some sovereign means some ruling party. So that the geographical area was under the rule, under the reign, R-E-I-G-N, under the reign of, under the ruling or under the reign of the Britishers, the Englishmen. The train began to slow down beyond Dadar and stopped only at its destination. As soon as the railway station, the main railway station, Victoria Station, was approaching very near. So the train had also started running slow. The speed of the train had also been reduced. The train began to slow down beyond Dadar and stopped only at its destination, Victoria Terminus. So while passing through the station Dadar and Nagar Haveli, the train finally reached its destination. The train finally reached its station, and that the name of the station was Victoria Terminus. The station looked remarkably neat and clean. The word remarkably stands for notably, signally. One could easily say, beautifully. One could easily say that the unusually, remarkably stands for unusually. The station looked unusually neat and clean. Looking at the station, Professor Guy Tonde got highly surprised, since he had not assumed that the station, Victoria Station of Bombay, would be so nice, so beautiful, so attractive, so impressive. The staff was mostly made up of Ongal Indians and Parsis, along with a handful of British officers. Most of the staffers, or we make most of the persons, most of the people, most of the persons, most of the workers who were paying their duty, who were giving their duty at the station, were Parsis or Ongal Indians, with a handful of British officers. Among those all workers, among those all staffers, only a very few people were Britishers. Most of the workers, most of the employees working at the station, Victoria Station in Bombay, the Bombay Victoria Station in Bombay, were Parsis and Ongal Indians. As he emerged from the station, came out. When the train had already reached the station, Victoria Station, so passengers were alighting down the station. Okay, and when Gangadhar Pant got down his carriage and alighted the station. Alighted means alighted stands for here. Got down. Okay, the carriage got down the station. उतरना जिसको कहते हैं. When he had already got down the compartment, got down the bogie carriage. Okay, so he first of all noticed the overall location and overall appearance, overall look of the station, and that the most beautiful and remarkably neat and clean station surprised him a lot. Okay, as he emerged from the station, Gangadhar Pant found himself facing an imposing building. Imposing stands for beta impressive, highly impressive. So as he emerged from the station, at the time when he came out of the station, when he stepped out of the station, when he left the station, Gangadhar Pant, at the time when Gangadhar Pant came out of the station, he found himself facing an imposing building. He found himself standing just opposite, just in front of a very impressive building. The letters on it proclaimed means announced. Some letters were the letters on the building of that, on the walls of that building, on one wall of the building, some letters were written there. The letters on it proclaimed its identity to those who did not know this Bombay landmark. On the building, some letters were also printed there, and the letters announced, especially to those who did not know anything about that landmark, identification mark. Okay, so the identification mark was written on that building, and that building stood just opposite, just outside the railway station, Victoria Railway Station. East India House, headquarters of the East India Company. East India House, headquarters of the East India Company. The word East has been added here to this name, India. East India House, headquarters of the East India Company. Okay, so these the words in capital letters were written on that building, and those who had never seen such kind of words on any building, okay, could take them amazingly, but reading the words, one could easily understand it, that what kind of building it was and who was the real owner of that building. Prepared as he was for many shocks, it transpired that Gangadhar Pant had already faced so many shocks, such kinds of heavy shocks, setbacks in his life. So he did not take the words so seriously. Professor Gaitonde had not expected this. Professor Gaitonde had not taken the words into his exposition. He had never thought that he would ever see such kinds of words written on any building in Bombay also. The East India Company had been wound up. Wind up stands for end up, finish up. He had expected that the East India Company had been wound up shortly after the events of 1857. He had expected that the East India Company of the Britishers, of the Englishmen, would have surely been ended up, would have surely been finished, would have surely been ended up. Would have surely been ended up shortly after the revolt of 1857. At least that is what history books said, because it was written in the history book that after that the revolt of 1857, the Britishers would have left the country and they would have gone to their own country, but it was not so. Yet here it was, not only alive but flourishing. So he also concluded that, Britishers were there and they were not alive, but they were progressing fast in Bombay, in India. So history had taken a different turn perhaps before 1857. So he presumed that history had also taken an U-turn. History had also taken a U-turn. I'm sorry, not a U-turn before the revolt of 1857. How and when had it happened? Now he did not know how it had all happened and when it had all happened. He had to find out. So now he became more curious to know about it all, how it could be possible and how it had all happened, and he wanted to find it out. Since he had thought that Britishers would have definitely gone after the revolt of 1857, but when he read the words written on some building, his all expectations had shattered into pieces, broken into pieces, and he got heavily shocked, and he could hardly believe on his eyes, and he thought that the Britishers were there in Bombay, in India, and they were not only alive, but they were flourishing in the country, okay, in the same manner as they had started progressing in the beginning of their arrival in India. Okay, bete. So now the next part is to be discussed, is to be learnt by us in the next lecture. Thank you, bete.